Last summer in Florence, we visited the Galleria D'Accademia, where Michelangelo's David is kept. They also have an amazing collection of antique musical instruments, including this highly ornate pair of Hurdy Gurdys from the 18th century. After having built a number of ukuleles and a harpsichord, I thought I would try my hand at building a Hurdy Gurdy. The Hurdy Gurdy dates back to the 11th century and was also known as a wheel fiddle. It operates by turning a crank that then rotates a wheel that vibrates several strings. Some of the strings are drone strings and play a constant pitch, while the others are melody strings and can be played as a tune. I ordered plans from a company called Music Makers and cut out a full-size template. For the sides, I planed some walnut down to 1/8 inch, then put it in the steam box for about half an hour to soften it up. From the steam box, it goes right into a jig where it's clamped together so it can dry, and the sides will retain that shape. A heel and tail block are cut from solid walnut, then the two sides, the heel and the tail block, are clamped together in this alignment jig. Small lining strips are also bent to shape, then glued to the top and bottom, where they'll provide additional support for gluing on the instrument's top and bottom. For the soundboard, I have some leftover Port Orford cedar from my harpsichord. I rough cut it to size using the bandsaw, then on the scroll saw cut out the wheel hole and two F-shaped sound holes. I glued the top onto the sides, proving once again that you can't have too many clamps, then flush trimmed the edges on the router table. It's starting to look a little bit like an instrument. On the interior, some bracing needs to be installed. The black bushing on the right carries the axle that will turn the wheel. For the back, I glued together a pair of book-matched walnut panels, then rough cut it to size, glued it on, and cut it trim. On the top and bottom, I then routed a small rabbet to install some decorative inlay banding. The next step is to make the key chest, the box on top that holds the keys and the melody strings. The easiest way to cut these square holes is to rip the wood apart, cut out the notches with a dado head cutter on the table saw, then glue it back together. With the key chest in place, it kind of looks more like Noah's Ark than like a musical instrument. The next step is to make the peg head, the part of the tail that holds the 4 tuning pegs. I wanted to try my hand at carving a scroll, so I watched a few videos, and this is how it's done. You mark out a spiral, then cut it to size using saws, and with a variety of chisels and even a Dremel moto tool, the spiral starts to take shape. There is a pair of them, one on each side, with a central core. Even though I use the Dremel for a lot of this, I have an incredible amount of appreciation for craftsmen who do this purely by hand. Here's the final product, and I'm pretty happy with the way it turned out. We're getting close to the end here. On the top, I applied a dye followed by a gel stain, then finished the entire body with Danish oil followed by some spray-on lacquer. Some additional little bits need to be attached to the top. On the far right, you can see a tail block to hold the melody strings and 2 smaller drone anchors. In the middle, in black, there's a central melody bridge and the 2 drone bridges on either side, and then a couple small blocks hold the wheel cover in place. The wheel itself can be made from a variety of materials. I've even seen some made from plastic or corian. I decided to use a high-quality Baltic birch plywood. I trued it up on the lathe so it would be perfectly circular. Then I figure, why not decorate the wheel? So I used some walnut veneer and leftover inlay strips. My trusty apprentice, she still likes removing veneer tape. The crank to turn the wheel is cut from soft brass that can be cut on the scroll saw with a metal cutting blade. And here's the wheel in action. There are 12 of these keys on the instrument. For the key buttons, I used some leftover ebony, and the pair of tangents that contact the strings are made out of maple. For the key chest lid, I wanted to do something very ornate, so we're going to do some marquetry here. The design is adapted from a book of Victorian scroll saw patterns. The main design is going to be in walnut with a surround of black dyed veneer, and the little bits on the inside are also going to be black. The first step is to make a sandwich with the 2 veneers inside 2 pieces of waste scrap veneer. Then, on the scroll saw, using the tiniest little blade, each one of these little bits gets cut out. You put aside the little bits in black dyed veneer, save the main pattern in walnut, and save the black outer surround area. Then you can reassemble it using veneer tape. You glue it onto the lid, then when it's dry you remove the veneer tape with water, and presto, marquetry. The wheel cover has a similar marquetry design, but this time it's curved. This is a perfect job for the vacuum press. The vacuum press does such a good job of gluing veneer to curved surfaces it almost feels like cheating. The hardware kit I ordered came with these 4 violin pegs, which look great but don't work very well. I replaced them with some geared mechanical tuners, which don't look quite as nice but are much easier to adjust. I figured I'd need all the help I can get to get this thing to sound decent. So here's the hurdy-gurdy strung up and ready to play. This lower drone string here is tuned to an A, so that when we turn the crank here, the wheel is vibrating the string. Okay. This other drone string here, this one's tuned up a 4th to D, and together it just drones on and on. These 2 are the melody strings. They're tuned up an octave to A. These little bits of cotton are actually supposed to make it sound better, believe it or not. And inside the key chest here, the 2 melody strings run through where they contact the tangents. And then when you push the tangent, that plays each note. This 3rd one here is the tonic, and there's 12 notes.